Hey, hello. My name is Melissa Pena, and I grew up in El Paso, Texas. I work as a classical musician for the New Mexico Philharmonic, which is based in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I have the position of associate principal oboe and English horn with the New Mexico Philharmonic, and my primary responsibilities are we perform concerts regularly for large and small audiences in throughout Albuquerque, and my main job is to learn and perform and prepare my part, my oboe part or my English horn part that I'm working on, so that when I bring it into the large group for us to rehearse, we can rehearse more as a group and not be worrying about individual components, everybody's individual components. So that's what my responsibility is: playing the oboe and the English horn in the New Mexico Phil, and coming to rehearsals prepared with my part learned. As I mentioned, I'm from El Paso, Texas. I growing up, I didn't know any professional musicians, but I was around music. There were some musicians in my family, not professional musicians, but very great appreciators of music. My grandfather was completely self-taught. I don't think he ever had a music lesson in his life, but he did teach himself to read music. He played the guitar, he played keyboard instruments, and I definitely remember hearing that and being around that from probably before I could talk. I couldn't wait to be in band in fifth grade, because in band then we could choose wind instruments. And when I was in fifth grade, I started playing an instrument in band. I started playing the flute, and I loved the flute, loved it. I was doing everything flute, everything band, everything extra that I could. And then a few years later, I didn't really mean to switch from the flute and to play the oboe. I didn't mean to quit the flute. I just had heard about the oboe. I heard, I think there was one other person in my band in junior high that played it. I thought it was such a beautiful sound, and I just wanted to learn how to play it also. I had no intention of quitting the other instruments that I was playing. But once I started playing the oboe, it really did kind of take, and it ended up being the one that it just felt so kind of like an extension of my own voice or something, and that's the one that really took. So I did, and in high school, I was lucky enough to for my family to support me with that, and that we found a private teacher for me to study with when I was in high school, and that person was the oboe professor at UTEP at University of Texas at El Paso, and he also played principal oboe in the El Paso Symphony. He did both of those things, and that's my first realization, first exposure to somebody who did this thing as a career. And from there, he was really helpful in setting up those next steps for me. So telling me what I needed to do next. I just needed to study. I needed to play it more. I needed to study it more with more people. And so from there I went to the University of Illinois. I got my bachelor's degree in oboe performance. Then I got a master's degree in oboe performance as well from the University of Missouri, Kansas City. And that all kind of started from that exposure to my high school teacher, who was doing this as his career, though. If your high school has it's not the case everywhere, but I have seen this happen, and this was the case for me. With when you're in band, you're also doing marching band, especially in Texas. We were doing a lot of marching band, which meant we were there early in the mornings. The band room kind of became a place where you weren't just having your band class, but you were also hanging out after school. I hung out there at lunch. I ate my lunch in the band room. We were there before school. And so there's definitely a camaraderie and a little bit of a familial thing that sort of happens and develops when you're doing any extracurricular thing, right? When you're outside of your classroom and you have rehearsals or practices after school, before school, you form a bond, you form a family dynamic with those people. That's definitely true with the band kids, and so that's one of the things that really stands out to me from my high school experience, was just having that place to go that felt like my own, even though, of course, I was sharing it with every other band member and of course the directors. But like if I wanted to just play with my oboe at lunchtime, I could go eat my lunch in there and then do a little bit of practicing. And it felt like I had a sense of belonging, actually. It created that for me. And I felt like that was really important, and I really appreciated that. It made the whole endeavor so much more fun. And there are so many different aspects of the band, being in band in high school that ended up kind of informing my career, I think. Obviously, just the learning music, learning how to listen, learning how to play and listen simultaneously to not just yourself, but to the other person that you might be playing with, or people that you might be playing with, and then kind of the group the collective sound that you're putting out together. There's developing those skills, learning that they're even a thing that you should be doing for the first time. I feel like that was really something that, I was introduced to through my high school program. And then all of the extra things that are associated with music in high school were really, really helpful for me. So, but yeah, I really do feel like I learned a lot about, taking auditions, just going to a different location and performing a piece that you prepared as a high school quintet or a high school trio, or even as a high school solo, going to your regional little solo and ensemble competitions and things like that. There's something it's like a skill that you develop, that at first is very strange. I've been practicing this in my bedroom all this time. And then it's one thing to take it, into like your school space, but then to have to pack up, go to this room that you've never played in, or stage that you've never played on before, and then say what you want to say, do what you want to do. Maybe it's colder. All of these conditions can be very different. And just practice, gaining the practice doing that was really helpful, I think, because it's still so much of what I do. It's really exactly related to what I do. Yeah. And I just started doing it then, I think. Yeah, so if I have some words of wisdom to share, I would say do what you love. Do something that you love. Do what you love, and do it as much as you can. And if you do that, pathways are likely to open up for you. And that pathway may not look exactly like what you had imagined it would look like. But if you remain adaptable and you remain open, do what you love, do it as much as you can.